The Red Sox changed a lot this weekend, yet they stayed exactly the same. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Sea Radio. My name is Corbin. It was a pretty busy weekend for the Boston Red Sox. Not only did they split their latest series against the Detroit Tigers, maintaining their 500 record on the season, exactly 30-30, 60 games into the year, falling to 11 and a half games back of first place. Again, if anyone's still following that race, and now they're 3.5 games out of a wild card spot. But they also, on top of that, called up a man who refers to himself as the Barrel Man to make his Major League debut this weekend. They made some roster moves, and they promoted a couple of really intriguing prospects in their system. So what we are going to do in today's video is actually break this into two videos. This will be the first part of our video series today, where we go over the Red Sox latest series, what it means for the Sox, and what it could mean for their 2024 campaign. And we're also going to go over all the latest Red Sox roster moves as well, and how those are going to impact the 2024 team. But before we get into that, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. It just helps these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. Okay, so let's start with the roster moves first before we get into the actual series itself. The first one is Vaughn Grissom has once again found himself on the IL. He ended up hurting himself coming out of the box on Saturday. He pulled a hamstring, not the same hamstring he pulled at the beginning of the year that kept him out for the first month or so, but the opposite hamstring. He now has a strain, is on the 10-day IL. The good news here is that Alex Cora and Vaughn Grissom both believe that it is a little bit more mild than what he had that kept him out for the first full month of the 2024 season. But man, this dude just flat out cannot catch a break right now, right? You get injured spring training, you don't get a spring training, you get a couple of weeks to figure yourself out, then you come back, you get the flu, you lose 14 pounds, you're thrown right back into baseball, you can't get your feet wet, you can't get your feet under you, and then bam, hurt again, right? He has had, he's just been all over the place, and so far, he hasn't exactly been exciting at the plate. So I'm really hoping that, one, this is a injury that he could get back onto the field as soon as humanly possible from. Again, with it being a little bit more mild than his first one, it should probably only be a week or 2 weeks before we get him back in game action. But the other thing is that I hope this injury allows Vaughn Grissom the time to get himself fully back to 100% healthy, because even when he's been playing this year, he's been trying to get that weight back that he lost with the flu. So he never really has been 100% this season, and it definitely looks like it. So hopefully this injury allows Vaughn Grissom to get back to 100%. But the big news with this is that in order to fill his spot on the 26-man roster, the Boston Red Sox called up Jamie Westbrook, aka the Barrel Man from AAA Worcester, who's making his Major League debut after 11 seasons in minor league baseball. This dude has been grinding for 11 years, finally got the call, and it was for pretty decent reason too. He's been solid at the AAA level so far this year, a 267 average with a 364 on base percentage and a 436 slug, good for a 109 WRC plus, about 9% better than the average hitter in AAA baseball. He also had 5 bombs and 25 RBIs in 49 games this season. He brings a little bit of pop from the right-hand side, which I think Red Sox right now could probably use pretty well, right? You don't have Tyler O'Neill. You just lost Vaughn Grissom. You've got Romy Gonzalez, who we'll talk about in a second, who went down as well. So you need some right-handed pop. Jamie Westbrook might be able to give that to you. I really am. This is one of those guys that you root for super heavily and hopes that he's able to make an impression at the big league level. My gut is telling me this is probably a pretty short stint in the league, considering how mild Vaughn Grissom's strain is, and depending on how long it takes for him to get back, could probably see Jamie Westbrook being up here just until the end of that stint. But this gives him an opportunity that he's never had in 11 years of playing, so good for Jamie. I really hope it works out. Apparently, he's a super good clubhouse guy too, and maybe the Red Sox could use that to turn around the vibes a little bit. The other other news is that Romy Gonzalez, like I mentioned, also went down with a hamstring strain. He is on the 10-day IL officially. Alex Cora, talking about Romy, essentially said that the reason he even ended up on the IL was just so they could get some bodies up here. It doesn't sound like Romy's is even remotely as serious as Vaughn Grissom's, even though Vaughn's again is on that mild pace. Sounds like he should only be out for that 10 days, but in replace of Romy Gonzalez, ladies and gentlemen, Bobby Dahlbeck is back with the Boston Red Sox. That's right, Bob Stop is back in Boston. Can't keep him down forever, and he made his way back up. And I know, I get it, but I will say that I do think Bob's defense and his ability to play first, third, and a little bit of outfield here and there right now is going to be pretty big for this Red Sox team, who needs that sort of type of versatility on their bench. So I really don't hate Bob coming back up here. But other than that, those are the two roster moves that took place yesterday. Huge congratulations to Jamie Westbrook. I really do hope he does well. Let's talk about the series itself as well. As for starting pitching, it really got itself pretty right here in this series. Nick Pivetta got the first game, who went 5 1/3 innings, allowing 2 earned on 2 hits. He struck out 9, but it was 8 strikeouts in a row, which ties a Red Sox franchise record with Roger Clemens. He also had 2 walks, a nice bounce back start for Nick, who's been struggling pretty hard since coming off the IL. I think he needed one like this. Houck was absolutely dominant once again. He just continues to be. He went 7 innings, allowing just 1 run on 3 hits, walked 2, and struck out 6. His ERA on the season is now down to a 1.85. Again, we say this every time he's out there, but he just looks better and better whenever he steps onto the mound. He did get hit with in the forearm with a 105-mile-an-hour line drive, so a little bit of worry there, but he seemed perfectly fine. Sounded like he was doing all right, just a little swollen the day after, so hopefully that doesn't affect his ability to pitch in the next couple of days. Cooper Criswell had a nice bounce-back game here. He ended up going 5 innings, allowing 1 earned on 4 hits, 1 walk, and 5 Ks. I was a bit nervous that Criswell's effectiveness was waning a bit, right? Over the last couple of games, we saw what I think a lot of fans expected Cooper Criswell to look like. This game, it felt like he made the correct adjustments, and I'm really hoping that's something that's going to be able to stick as he moves forward throughout the rest of the month. Brian Bayo finished this series off, and I actually think his stat line isn't as accurate, in my opinion, as to how well Bayo pitched as I would have liked it to be. He ended up actually going 6 1/3 innings, 4 earned on 8 hits with 3 walks and 5 Ks. And the reason I say I don't think it's super accurate in terms of how well Brian Bayo was pitching is because he left the game with 2 runners on, and Slayton pretty immediately let them in. So in my opinion, he pitched better than his stat line suggests. Again, we go back to him making these adjustments necessary to take that next step. We talk about how this is pretty normal stuff from a second-year pitcher in Major League Baseball, and he's still clearly a work in progress. Although, again, in my opinion, he looked better than he had in the last couple of starts in this one. The bullpen in this one had its moments. Bernardino looked fantastic. Kenley Jansen actually looked really good in this series. Chris Martin, not so much. I'm starting to think that maybe Chris is pitching through something this year. It feels like they're using him very sparingly, and when he does have a bad outing like he had in this series, he doesn't get used for a pretty long period of time. I'm really interested to see if that's the case. I don't know if we'll ever find that out. Cam Boozer sort of fell apart here for the Red Sox in the finale in extra innings. Honestly, he got kind of screwed over by the umpires or the replay room in MLB, so I'm not going to totally blame Boozer for that, but yeah, it was not pretty, and it was a reason why the Red Sox lost this series. I don't think the biggest reason why the Red Sox couldn't win this series, but it is definitely a factor. However, the rest of the bullpen looked pretty solid. Again, Slayton gave up those 2 unearned when he came in for Brian Bayo, but I still think the bullpen looks really, really good. I think a lot of these guys are settling in. I want Zach Kelly back up here ASAP. I think Kelly being in this bullpen and being able to come in the 10th inning of that game may have allowed the Red Sox to come out with a different outcome, but that's just my opinion. Not really part of this series, just wanted to throw it in there. As for the offense, they were pretty up and down like they've been this entire year, just sort of in a microcosm of the season in this one. There were some good performances, though. Ceddanne Rafaela had himself a game in this series, 2-home run game, leading to 5 RBIs, which currently puts him second amongst MLB rookies for home runs and is leading all major league rookies in RBIs. He's definitely struggling with overall consistency, but man, when he gets it, he has some really big games. Also, flat outstanding in the outfield defensively in this one, making Superman level catches. And Manuel Valdez had a 2-home run game here as well in the third game of this series. That day also included a double and 3 RBIs. Overall, he is still struggling hard at the plate right now, but it is cool to see him coming back from being sent down and being able to sort of make those adjustments and be productive basically the day he gets up here. Rafael Devers had 3 extra base hits in this series, a double, his second triple of the year, which now ties his total triples over the last 3 years at 2, and an extremely clutch game-tying home run in the finale. There's just nothing really to hate about Rafael Devers right now. He has been absolutely incredible since he got himself right after his injury. Everything he does is just a ton of fun to watch. And honestly, I know he had an error in this series, but overall, his defense has looked much better than it has over the past couple of years. Jarren Duran snapped out of his skid a little bit after going 0 in the first 2 games. He came back with 2 hits in the last 2 games. When he gets real hot, he gets real hot. When he gets real cold, he gets real cold. And hopefully, this is the start of a really hot streak. He was absolutely crushing line drives in the back half of this series. Overall, when we look at this thing as a whole, just talking about the series itself, not the promotions and whatnot, I don't really know what to make of this one. It kind of felt like this was just sort of a representation of what season has been for the Boston Red Sox. This series right here, where there are games where your offense picks you up, there are games where your pitching picks you up, but there are also games when both of those things lay you down in different ways and you end up sort of dead in the middle somewhere. I will say, I think it's encouraging that we are seeing this Red Sox offense get 2 pitchers, right? That third game in this series, they were able to get to a pitcher who up until that point had a 1.84 ERA and were able to put some runs on the board. We talk about them not being able to hit good pitching and that being sort of one of the causes of them sticking around this 500 number. It was good to see them do that in this series. But again, it's like the Red Sox refuse to let themselves be above 500. It's like they refuse to allow themselves to be even a bad team. They refuse to allow themselves to be a good team either. They just sort of sit in this baseball purgatory, if you will. Jared Carrabis had a great tweet yesterday going over what the Red Sox record was like at 60 games through the year over the last 3 years. 2022, 29-31, 2023, 30-30, 2024, 30-30. It's the same conversation that we had last video, how it just feels like the same season over and over and over again. And this right here, in my opinion, is a perfect example as to why. You have really good things in this series. You just can't put it all together on a consistent enough basis to do anything with it. I will say, being 500 right now really doesn't feel like the end of the world to me. In fact, with all the injuries that you dealt with this season, it feels pretty positive that you're at 500 still. I think being 500 and hovering around that until you can get Casas, Massa, healthy Grissom, Romy to even some degree back onto the Boston Red Sox, you could be in a pretty good place coming into the All-Star break, but we'll see. Either way, again, I don't really know what to make of this series. I think it's just sort of a middle-of-the-road series. It happened, and I think we're going to probably forget about this one a couple of weeks after it's done, but that's just my opinion. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think? What do you think of the latest Red Sox series? What do you think of the Red Sox promotions? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Is there anything you wanted that didn't happen in this series? Let me know all your thoughts on the latest Red Sox series in the comment section down below. And don't forget to keep an eye out for the second part of this video, which will be talking about some pretty interesting Red Sox minor league promotions. Don't forget, if you made it to the end here as well, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys hit the like button on these videos as well. They just help it out a ton and would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the red seats.